Welcome back to episode 9 of Duo Everything, a series of videos that showcases my partners and my progress through old school RuneScape as Ironmen. If you missed any of the previous episodes and want to get all caught up, every episode has been organized into a playlist for your convenience. As per usual, it's been a while. I've been away getting my Class A license. Besides completing both that class, plus training, and the Varrock Elite Diary on my account, I have quite a bit to talk about in this episode. Of course, whenever it comes to the real life stuff, I'm not really going to include too much of that. Y'all are here for my silver spoon turned gold, so let's dive right into it. First, Xanth got pretty lucky while grinding out 92 mining. Sorry for the crap picture, but Xanth figured with me starting to hammer Zulrah, he wanted to stock up on Amethyst, so we have a good ammo type to use once we run out of the various other ammo types that have been adding up in our banks. Before I started going to my CDL classes, Xanth and I pushed hard into PVM, going after everything we could that our at-the-time gear could support. While this pair of boots isn't 100% ideal, it's still a new item to add to our ever-growing banks. Xanth also managed to pull a pair of holy sandals from a clue. Again, not 100% ideal, but these are actually really nice, especially since we're able to immediately turn them into devout boots. I honestly felt like he was getting pretty lucky with things, until I pulled something that I've never received as a drop on any account. Not gonna lie, I lost my mind when I realized what I was looking at on the ground. At first, I was very, very confused because, again, I've never had one of these before. I didn't even know what it looked like. For those who are unaware, the drop rate on this item is 1 in 10,000. And if you are familiar with old school RuneScape at all, you can see just how good this shield is. This thing will actually help us out in a number of future grinds and will make some current things, like any Dragon Slayer task, a little faster. Feeling lucky, I decided to kill me some more Zulrah. I had previously stopped at 600 KC, with only 2 items to show for it. Hindsight 2020, if I had known that just 1 more KC would have netted me a Magic Fang, I would have kept going. Honestly, I kinda like doing Zulrah now, which is kind of weird for me to say. For those who don't know, this bad boy, or girl, depending on who you are, is a beast of a magic weapon. Normal Trident is already pretty solid, but the upgraded version? Oh yes, it's gonna help us a lot when we camp raids. It's also useful for certain bosses, like more Zulrah. I feel this was a long time coming. Sure, after a while, I really did not mind farming the smelliest of snakes. I mean, can you just see what Zulrah is swimming in? But it sure is nice to see items getting checked off the list. Yes, I need 2 of these, technically, but I mostly wanted to get this item secured because Xanth really wanted it for a truly monstrous grind that I'll touch on shortly. In the meantime, have another Magic Fang! That's 2 secured and a solid upgrade that we don't have to worry about sharing between our accounts. Now, about that monstrous grind.
We're talking about Hydra now, aren't we?
We're talking about Hydra. Those with high-level Slayer will know this boss room all too well. This absolute unit of a Slayer boss is not only pretty insane profit per hour to kill, but it is also one of the creatures barring our path from some pretty key items. See, besides the bones and all of its, quote, junk drops, within its multitude of heads lies the Hydra leather, used to create some pretty beast melee-centered gloves. While they are amazing, we're going after its most expensive drop. See where the arrow is pointing? That, the 1 in 1001 drop, the Hydra Claw. It makes Olm's left-hand stabber, the Dragon Hunter Lance. On paper, it doesn't look all that impressive, until you factor in its plus 20% accuracy, and plus 20% damage to all draconic creatures. Also, given the fact that most dragons are weak to stab, which is this weapon's highest accuracy value. Yeah, one of these is going to be god tier for Chambers of Xeric, Hydra, Vorkath, any Dragon Slayer task. Basically, there's a fair number of draconic creatures in the game, of which most are what I would consider to be higher value targets. And with the blowpipe I farmed up in his hand, Xanth set off to work, grinding through each kill to the best of his ability. And he was sort of getting drops. These little uniques make a pretty decent all-around ring, but it's not really what we're after. Also, his hopes were crushed when he realized just how fast the Zoro skills were depleting. The stack of 100k I had chilling in my bank wasn't going to be anywhere near enough. And I'll touch on why in a little bit. He decided to say, screw the blowpipe. I'm going for the Dragon Poker Light. At KC 306, he managed to pull a leather. Don't get me wrong, these gloves are good, but in my opinion, it's not nearly the game changer that the lance is. It's by this point he was getting a little tired of going after the Hydra. The kills weren't the fastest, and he had issues concentrating on the boss for long periods of time, so I decided to do something I really wanted to avoid. The Corrupted Gauntlet. Remember how earlier I said my silver spoon turned golden? I actually pulled an enhanced weapon seed. The one thing needed to make the Bofa a god-tier ranged weapon. Not gonna lie, it was difficult to hand this thing over. Sure, Xanth is my life partner and my group iron partner, but it isn't often I pull items like this. And I got it super early too. I pulled it at 36 KC. Still, I handed it over to him with some reluctance, and he pulled a me, riding the high of Golden Spoon luck to pickpocket elves for enhanced teleport seeds to acquire the shards needed to turn it into its corrupted variant, so he'd never have to worry about charging the bow.
And make sure to do that as quickly as possible in the event that Farron would change his mind and want it back.
Because it's untradeable once it's corrupted. So, the enhanced teleport seeds are one of the best ways to farm up crystal shards. With the Thieves outfit, you double what you pickpocket. At a drop rate of 1 in 1024, it really doesn't take that long to get what's needed to corrupt a Bofa. Xanth got what he needed in 2,424 total pickpockets. It should have been closer to 6,144. After achieving this, he immediately went back to Hydra. And he started pulling in uniques. Well, technically, the Hydra Eye, the Hydra Fang, and the Hydra Heart can be combined to make a Brimstone Ring, which I feel got made irrelevant because of the Ring of Shadows from Desert Treasure 2. But oh well. This boss became Xanth's life for way too long. So, remember the Hydra Leather that I showed y'all earlier? As you can see, for melee combat, they're a pretty solid upgrade from Barrow's Gloves. So, we do happily take upgrades like this. At 466 KC, he pulled a Jar of Chemicals, which is cool, I guess? More collection log progress. Yay! Now, when I say that Mr. Mind Your Heads over here became Xanth's life, I do mean that almost literally. Save for a few breaks here and there, Xanth just continued to hammer this boss. Because if you look in the chat log, he's sitting at 1408 kills without a second unique. But thankfully, a second leather drops at 1409 kill count. Here's the annoying thing though. At 1487 KC, he pulled a third leather, and a fourth leather at 1503 KC. Okay, you know what, time to get away from Hydra for a bit. Xanth and I figured that we need to get our thieving up anyway, and decided to hit up Pyramid Plunder. It's an ass minigame, but it has some of the best experience rates for thieving in the game. Plus, it allowed us to go through and get one of these. This was a pretty nice item to pull, since now Xanth can put a fully upgraded occult altar in his house, letting us swap to any spellbook in the game without having to go way out into the middle of bumfuck Egypt. Yay! By this point, some new quests had dropped, and I knocked them out really quickly, and farmed up a zombie axe, and then sent some demonic gorillas, since we still desperately needed some Zenyte shards. Managed to nab some ballista limbs with some good luck, and it finally happened. Now, I didn't go nearly as dry as some people I know, but I was still over 600 KC before I got my first Zenny, which is more than double the drop rate. Shortly after this, however, I got another! Yay! For when things even out earlier than expected. On my, quote, main, I went over 1,200 kills dry. That was awful. I never had particularly good luck with these. Then Xanth pulled one. I pulled a third. And Xanth pulled one of the last two that we need. As a side note, all of these kills were done over the course of a large span of time. It was around this time I got sent off to do my CDL training. We basically did a trip or two whenever we got the chance to play together. Whenever we weren't doing this, or nuking Zambi God Wars, I was slaying, farming up blood shards, apparently, though this screenshot was taken before I pulled the enhanced crystal weapon seed. My apologies for these being a little out of order. If I put all of these screenshots and clips in chronological order, this episode would be bouncing around even more so than it already is. But keeping with the theme, here's a third blood shard. These things have actually been coming in handy, especially with all the bossing we've been doing. I also pulled a full trident, which will actually come in handy since there is still some more Barrows pieces that we could use. I feel the Trident of the Swamp is a little too costly to use at Barrows. Speaking of, Xanth pulled another Torag's body. Yay. I think we have like 5 of them now. But it was still a nice little break in between Hydra and the myriad of other things that we happened to be doing around the game at the time. We decided to go back to Zambi, and Xanth got the God Sword Shard 1, which... Wait a minute. That's the last piece that we need. We can finally get our first God Sword. By some miracle, Xanth pulled all 3 shards in his name with no dupes. I feel like that doesn't happen. From what I remember on my main, I would pull dupe God Sword shards left, right, and center. It was maddening. There was actually one grind that we really weren't looking forward to on Iron Man, because often enough, you get stuck waiting for that one specific shard. But apparently not us, and we haven't even been going super hard with God Wars. We've each pulled a hilt, Xanth with the Zamorak hilt and me with the Bandos hilt. They've been sitting in our banks for months, just collecting dust, unable to be used. This BGS is going to be really, really nice, especially since very shortly afterwards... And here we are with our first purple. It's in Xanth's name. So, Xanth, go ahead. Click it. I have everything recording. This is going to be a live clip because this is our first purple.
But what if I don't wanna?
Well, then we're not getting the purple. Oh man, come on.
Actually, I don't know if I want the ring or the fang.
Come on, what do we get? Come on.
It's probably either the ring or the fang.
Oh, it's a ring.
No, it's the ring. That's fucking
yeah. I mean, I was definitely hoping for a fang, but I mean, we'll still take it. We will take it. Nice. Man, I'm just glad that, we finally got a purple.
Dude. And it's not a Missouri piece, which honestly I'd be kind of upset about.
I know I sounded kind of defeated in that clip. At the time, I really didn't realize just how big this ring is. So, this ring doesn't offer any stats. What it does do, however, is double the regeneration rate of your special attack energy, making weapons such as the Bandos Godsword and the Dragon Warhammer a good bit more effective. This ring is amazing at things like God Wars, will probably be quite useful in raids, and from experience I've gained at certain bosses that I'll touch on later, it's useful for them too. I remember this time we were riding a loot high, so we went back to Krill to test our luck. Xanth pulled a Zambi Spear this time. While yes, these aren't particularly uncommon, the addition of this ring to our arsenal was really helping us get faster and more reliable kills. It doesn't stop there though. During the nights, we were both hitting up the lower tier wilderness bosses, really trying to see if we can get a malediction shield. With the new magic balance hitting around this time, it was more important to us than ever that we secure at least one. With a little time, a little effort, some dupes, and some incredibly bizarre RNG, and I do mean incredibly bizarre, what the hell, 3 pets and 431 KC, we felt we were stuck on a dupe streak, until I managed to break said streak with the final piece of the proverbial puzzle. The annoying thing about this shield, at least now, is the fact that Jagex split the pluses to magic damage across a variety of items. So things like the Malediction Shield, or Mage's Book if you feel like doing the Mage Training Arena minigame, are basically required, especially on accounts that can't access trade with other players. We'll have to get a second at some point, but for our current goals, this'll do. About a month after this clip was taken, While Gothic Sleeps was released. And I really wanted to get it knocked out so I could start going for the new Demon Bane weaponry. While I worked on that, Xanth tackled content we had never done before, the Moons of Peril. And relatively quickly, he started pulling in items. A Blood Moon chestplate, a Blue Moon helm, the dual Makawaddle. The Eclipse Moon tassets, the Blue Moon Spear, which actually isn't a terrible magic weapon.
It makes up for that we never got the Arab stick.
And some Blood Moon tassets. He was having pretty good luck here. While he was doing this, I did all of the dark totems that were adding up in my bank, as well as all of the clues I got while farming Scotizo. Besides the Stark Claw, though, I didn't really get anything worth mentioning. This was more of a time waste than anything else. But what wasn't a time waste was getting my first synapse! At the time, these were still new enough that metas weren't really known, so with this, I made an Emberlight, which is a pretty solid upgrade over Arclight. I also decided to throw together a Light Ballista because we had all the parts to make multiple. While I was away for my CDL training, I did some maniacal monkey hunting and nabbed another tail just for this purpose. Not gonna lie, despite the Light Ballista not being as good as its heavy counterpart, this thing still slaps. It actually helped me out a fair bit at Tormented Demons. While I was home over one of the weekends, I recorded a little just so I can get some B-roll footage, and, well... yeah, a second synapse. Now, again, this was really before people knew just how good a certain item was, so I decided to test it out for myself. After making this beauty and reading what the special attack did, Xanth and I immediately booked it back to Krill. That's a reoccurring theme if you can't tell. And we nabbed another spear! This bow is god tier. Even solo, it makes Krill an absolute joke. You only take damage from the minions, really. You don't have to run around the room like a chicken with its head cut off, and the bow is scary accurate. While, yes, I never got around to farming crystal armor up for Xanth, this bow was leagues more accurate than the Botha. It's hands down the best in-slot weapon for Krill if you want to lazy mode him. I do think that the Twisted Bow or Shadow would be more DPS, but I'm not sure since I don't own either of those items and have never played with either. Now, while playing around with this new equipment, I got my first, and technically second 99. I got HP first, and shortly thereafter got 99 ranged as well. I don't have a screenshot of that for some reason. RuneLight never took a picture of that. I wanted to keep my HP cape untrimmed as well, but kinda derped really hard whenever I hit 99 ranged and forgot to drop the HP cape. Oh well. That would have been nice to have, because I feel that the untrimmed HP cape is pretty uncommon. After I hit those 299s, I was away from home for 5 weeks, unable to really play at all. I was traveling across the country with my over-the-road trainer. I do suppose it gave Xanth some time to catch up in weaponry and finish off his stint at Hydra. He gunned for the no pressure achievement and managed to finally complete it. He told me that this clip playing out right now was taken when he finally felt really comfortable with Hydra, at over 1900 KC. He didn't slow down, especially at this point. Y'all know the sunk cost fallacy? Yeah, he was really feeling that, just knowing that things would even out eventually. I had no idea he would have to go after Hydra this hard to secure a claw. This clip playing out, at the start, he is at 2,234 kill count. Still no claw. That's a rough one to go dry on. Something he didn't go dry on, however, is one of these. I had a couple tasks of Basilisk Knights myself, but didn't get lucky. Xanth sure did. Again, it's small bonuses over our current helms. The regular Nezi helm is already pretty solid since it has no negatives. The face guard is just a little better, and that's basically what this part of the game is all about. Small increases in power. Besides this, he also received some Arania boots, which are actually really good. They're not only going to help me with the new Slayer boss, Araxer, but these boots are just all around really solid hybrid boots. They give the same strength bonus as Dragon Boots, they give the same offensive bonuses as Brimstone Boots, and they give a prayer bonus. Plus, their passive effect basically makes all spider bosses less pain in the ass. He nabbed himself a Burning Claw, of which he needs 2 to make the new spec weapon. Well, okay then. That's 2 claws down and 1 new spec weapon obtained.
And drive for synapse, which would help kill them.
It took Xanth 965 kills to get his first synapse. That's kinda rough, at least in my opinion. For those who are curious, he made the bow first, after seeing just how strong it is against Krill. While on his Slayer journey, he also nabbed a second Basilisk Jaw. That's 2 Nezi face guards in the bag. Wonderful. I honestly came home to just... It was a lot. There was a lot. I'm still not done showing y'all everything that's happened over the past few months. After I got home for my break, we hammered Group Slayer. Hard. Securing Xanth's second synapse after 1,722 kills. Another Zami Spear. And another Zami Spear. Okay, I understand that these things are relatively common, but come on! We want a Staff of the Dead! And there it is. The one thing that we've really been hunting. The Staff of the Dead. This helped us go through and get Xanth a third synapse, which was immediately turned into a purging staff so I could play with it. Tested it, and, to top it all off, my third synapse, which was promptly returned to Xanth, so we both have all 3 weapons. My god, the past couple of days have been absolutely crazy with the drops. Wait, speaking of drops, I have this Hydra B-roll still playing in the background. Did Xanth ever... Holy shit. He finally got one at 2,240 kill count. He said he more or less screamed when he saw that on the ground. Want to know the best part, though? He needs to get a second one. So, this drop log doesn't include all of his kills, but it includes most of them.
It's missing 9.
It's missing 9. That's 23 tracked kills worth 471 million gold, with 7 leathers and only 1 claw. If you are curious to know how far all of those bones got him in terms of prayer, it bumped him from 85 to 94. Yeah, that's a lot of experience. All that said, I think this new dragon pokey stick is teeming with good fortune. Because Xanth pulled a Draconic Visage too, from the same monster that I did. Ah, man. I feel like anytime I step away from OSRS, whether it be to take a break or because I'm forced to, my return is met with insane luck, hence the title of this video. Sure, there was a few items that were kind of expected, but there's a lot of it that was not. I'm hoping that I can ride the same high of luck at Araxer. I'm not terrible at the boss, it's only killed me once, but I can only get between 1 and 3 kills per trip, and it's far from a bank. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm hoping I can get lucky and pull a couple of Araxite Fangs for Xanth and myself so we can get our best-in-slot melee amulet. To see if that pans out, though, you're gonna have to tune into a future video. For now, I yoinked a couple of uniques from Cerberus. A Smoldering Stone, and an Eternal Crystal, which is actually nice. It means that we don't have to share Eternal Boots anymore. Also, Xanth wanted me to share this. Remember all the pickpocketing he did for the enhanced teleport crystals? Well, after he was done with that, he occasionally went to pickpocket gnomes until he hit 91 thieving. This is the loot from all the medium clues he obtained while doing that. That's all I have saved up for y'all. Judging by the length of this script, I think this is my longest OSRS video to date. And based off the number of images I edited together, I think this is the most in-depth video I've made in terms of editing to date. If y'all enjoyed this, please leave a like on the video. It'll let me know that you enjoyed it and want to see more like it. If it suits you, also subscribe to the channel for more OSRS videos. I'm still working on that remix of A Masket's Promise. With my new career nearly in full swing, it's difficult to find the time to work on it, but I'm getting there. This final clip is just highlighting stats, my drop log, key items that were obtained since the last video, things like that. It also gives me a chance to thank everyone, regardless if you leave a like on the video or not, regardless if you subscribe or not. I just want to say thank you to all of you who watch this. You're taking the time out of your day to watch one of my videos, and I honestly really do appreciate it. I put a lot of effort into this. Hell, you can ask Xanth. I have been working on this script for about 4 hours today, plus a couple hours here and there over the past week or so. Again, thank you to you viewers for taking your time to watch this video. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll catch all of y'all in the next one.